How is it possible that you look more beautiful every time I see you? Hieronymous asks as he steps into the room. We are in one of the suites at Beige's castle, preparing for their annual holiday party. We hadn't been back to Ravane Cottage ever since Melodia took Becky away. Hieronymous was always working, but he brought me everywhere he went. Even in meetings I was not allowed to be a part of, I always sat right outside his room, waiting for him to finish his business. I felt like some of the other men thought it was strange that Hieronymous brought his wife with him everywhere he went, but I didn't care about what other people thought. The important thing was that Hieronymous felt confident knowing that I was nearby, and I felt better knowing that he was safe as well. We had come to Beige's castle yesterday, so I could spend some time hanging out with Becky and Beige before tonight's party. Becky really loved helping care for Melodia's flowers while Beige was off at school, and she had just recently started learning magic again. Lord Grabiner. Mariette's voice is filled with mock offense. You know you cannot interrupt me when I am fitting Tori, or I will never be able to finish my work. I can't help myself, I remind her as I shift from foot to foot. I couldn't sit still when Hieronymous was nearby. I just couldn't, especially when he was looking at me like that. If you can't help yourself, it seems I will be forced to leave, Hieronymous warns with a touch of amusement in his voice, and I visibly pout. Fine, I'll be good, I tell him as he takes a seat in the corner of the room. Besides, I am only beautiful when you look at me. When you're not around, I fade into the background, like a chair or a lamp. A lamp? Hieronymous asks, and I can't help but giggle as Mariette shoots me a disapproving look. The lamp conversation, I say under my breath, and Mariette just shakes her head as she clicks her tongue disapprovingly. Oh? Hieronymous asks, and I look down towards Mariette, who is adjusting the hem of my dress. Should I tell him? I ask, and she just shrugs in response. Okay, so in French, there is something called a reflexive verb. I get dressed. Je m'habille. It's a reflexive verb because it means I dress myself. I am performing the action on myself. Hieronymous nods in understanding. But for a lamp, I continue, giggling slightly, you cannot use a reflexive verb on a lamp because then you are saying the lamp turns itself on. And a lamp cannot turn itself on. It needs someone to turn it on. I'm giggling so hard that Mariette stops and crosses her arms over her chest as she stares at me. Hieronymous is just watching me with a bemused expression on his face as he shakes his head from side to side. I'm sorry, I say as I look down at my feet. I am an adult. I will try to act like it. And are you? Hieronymous asks suddenly, and I tilt my head to the side in confusion. Am I what? I ask blankly. An adult? Able to turn yourself on, Hieronymous continues, and I can't help but blush. I mean, I'm not sure, I reply. If I'm looking at you, then maybe, but you're the one providing the stimulus, so... Oh mon Dieu, Mariette huffs. I think we will leave your hair as it is. Something tells me you will not be at the party long tonight, if you even make it there at all. We should show up for at least a few minutes, Hieronymous says, and Mariette throws up her hands as she leaves the room, murmuring something in French that I don't quite catch as she shuts the door behind her. You should not tease her so, I tell him as he stands up and comes over to me. If you keep interrupting her work, she may not want to be my maid anymore. She dotes on you, Hieronymous replies as he leans forward to kiss me. No more than you do, I remind him, and he wraps his arms around me as he deepens the kiss. I wrap my arms around him, and we stand like that, making out in the middle of the room before I pull away breathlessly. So, we might actually need to show up late tonight, because I don't think I'm going to be able to look Beige's parents in the eye if I'm all giddy and breathless, I tell him, and Hieronymous just laughs. Maybe I want you to be giddy and breathless, he counters. I still remember the way that you were looking at me when you first saw me at the party last year. Because handsome doesn't even come close to describing how amazing you looked then. Or now, I say as I take his hand in mine. But fine, if I must endure a few more hours of teasing, then I will endure a few more hours of teasing. So long as you can assure me that it will be worth the wait. Hieronymous leans down, and at first I think he's going to kiss me again before he licks the side of my neck and gently nips my earlobe. It will be, he whispers in my ear, and I grip his hand tighter. I feel like I'm about to dissolve into a puddle at his feet, but Hieronymous just laughs as he takes my hand and raises it to his lips to kiss my knuckles. Come on, he says. Let's go. As we arrive at the party, I see Becky sitting along one wall near the door, kicking her feet back and forth. Oh, miss, she says happily. There you are. This castle is so big, I thought you might have gotten lost. Nope, I reply. I just take forever getting ready, that's all. Oh, Becky says as she looks from me to Hieronymous. You two should dance. Budge tells me that you're a graceful dancer and that I should take notes. I'm really not, I say with a quick shake of my head. What about you, though, Becky? Aren't you going to dance? Oh, don't worry about me, miss, Becky replies. My partner will be along shortly. You should go have fun. All right, I say awkwardly as I let Hieronymous lead me onto the dance floor. He pulls me into his arms, but I can't help but look over my shoulder. I feel his hand graze my butt, and I slowly turn back to look at him as I narrow my eyes. This isn't as fun if I can't tease you, he says lightly, and I can't help but make a face. I'm worried about Becky, I tell him. Is she really going to sit there all night? She said she is waiting for someone, Hieronymous replies. Do you think she was being dishonest? I'm not sure, I admit. I could see her telling me that she was waiting on someone, so I didn't just sit on the sidelines with her all night, but I don't want her to miss out either. I'm sure she will find someone to dance with, Hieronymous replies. If not, I will, of course, let you dance with your friend. But then who will you dance with? I ask. Or will you just sit along the sidelines like you did at the dark dance? I can't say that it was a completely intolerable affair, he offers, and I just smirk. Sometimes I wonder what Iris Academy is like now, I say. Sometimes, when you're in meetings, I can't help but think about it. I wonder if the assemblies have changed. If you hadn't taken your father's seat and Potsdam was kicked out, I wonder if they would have made you headmaster. Some things we'll never know, Hieronymous says with a small shrug. I would not dwell on hypotheticals too much, Tori. It's not a bad hypothetical, I say with a shrug. More like a daydream. Maybe you would be headmaster and I could have been in charge of wild seed protections, like teaching wild seeds about their magic and holding assemblies to go over the rules, like not sharing your magic with the low world and being super careful about promises. And you would have also chaperoned the Apple Festival, I assume? Hieronymous asks, and I nod excitedly. I still have not gone apple picking with you or my friends, I whisper excitedly. It seems like such a simple thing to do, and yet I never got to do it. We will make it a new fall tradition, Hieronymous tells me. We can spend 1 weekend a year in the States so that you can climb a tree and pluck an apple off a branch. It's not just that. I just shrug. I don't know. It's like you're surrounded by apples and you have to have a strategy to choose the best one, but once you choose it, that's like your apple, you know? Like, even if you climb really high because you think you see a really good apple on the top branches, and it turns out to be lumpy or weird looking on one side, you worked for that apple. You earned it, you know? And even if you suddenly see a better apple, It's like, yeah, I can have it, but I didn't work for it. Not like I worked for this apple. It's like you made a bond with that apple, even if you're going to eat it like 5 minutes later. Are we still talking about fruit? Hieronymus asks, and I can't help but giggle. I don't know where my head goes sometimes, I admit, but I stop talking as I see Hieronymus narrow his eyes, looking at someone approaching over my shoulder. Hieronymus? Oh no. What's wrong? Oh, yoo-hoo! Tori! I barely have time to turn around before I'm bombarded by Pastel's giant fairy wings.